What is up, armchair fandom maniacs? This is the Real Last Jedi back with you for another armchair fandom video. Today we're going to be talking about the Batman. We'll have a reaction and then we'll give you a warning and have a spoiler review toward the end of the video. But we saw this, me and Ashley saw this about last Saturday, I think it was, and came down under the weather. Haven't been able to get a video out yet, but we'll be talking about that in today's video. If you like our channel, remember sign up for a YouTube account. After you've done that, look us up, Armchair Fandom. Subscribe to our channel. Anything you like, click the like button. Leave a comment in the comment section below, and click the notification bell so that you can be notified when we have more content available. You can also find us on Facebook at the Facebook group Armchair Fandom and on Twitter at armchair_fandom. And also, I just want to say if you have topics or movies you would like our channel to cover, just shoot us a message either on Facebook or Twitter or in the comment section below our videos. And with that being said, I'm going to bring in our guest, Ashley, otherwise known as Darth Pane, and we'll get this show going. What's up, Pane?
Going on, man? Greetings from the hallowed halls of the Korriban archives.
Yeah, what's your I don't like that shirt you have on there, man.
Got it just for you, man. I know it's your favorite Star Wars
That's
movie of all time.
the franchise killer of all franchise killers right there.
Well, I think
Uh,
Last Jedi killed. I think Rise of Skywalker just finished it off. Last Jedi killed it.
they could have still completed the story in a really good way, but at least the Last Jedi had some Star Warsy moments in there that you can even now go back and appreciate. There's nothing redeeming from the Rise of Skywalker at all.
Yeah, I don't know, man. What's wrong with you? You can't get excited about Ray Palpatine be adopted by the Skywalkers who are all dead. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Well, I don't know. I must not be a true Star Wars fan.
Yeah, I think it's probably that's what that crowd would say.
Yeah, I guess I'm a normie. I just don't understand. Anyways, man, we're going to talk about the Batman. I mean, you had a chance to go see it Saturday
Yep.
afternoon, the day after opening day. Uh, I'm going to give you my initial thoughts on it, and I'll let you give me your initial thoughts. I thought this movie was really good, man. From the beginning up until about the last 20 minutes, I was really drawn in and intrigued by what was going on. It was like I've heard a lot of other people say, and I wouldn't know the differences in different versions of Batman from the comics, but I've heard a lot of people say this focuses more on the detective side of Batman. Uh, I thought Robert Pattinson was good. I thought all the actors was good. There's some complaints that I could throw out, but I'm not going to for this video. Me and you've, I don't know if we've even talked about them yet, but some other channels I watch on YouTube have pointed them out that I agree with their take on it. Paul Dano was great as the Riddler. He's a really good actor. If you haven't seen him in anything else, he was in the movie with Daniel Day-Lewis, There Will Be Blood. He was really good in that. Jeffrey Wright was good. Uh, uh, I did. I could have took her. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. I could have took it or left it. It didn't really blow me away at all. Uh, Especially after I've seen what the actress has said in recent days. I think the movie could have done just fine without the role of Batwoman in it. But overall, uh, I was really pleased with this movie. I would definitely, out of all the Batman movies that's ever come out, it's definitely in top three or four for me, behind Batman Begins, The Dark Knight. and I would even put the Dark Knight Rises above it. I know a lot of people had problems with that one, but I still like the Dark Knight Rises. So I'd probably put this, as far as Batman properties go, Batman releases that I've personally seen. I would have it in the top 3 or 4. What's your take?
Well, I'll agree with a lot of that. I thought, well, only thing I disagree with, I mean, I didn't hear what Zoe Kravitz's comments were, but I thought she was outstanding in the movie. I thought she was very good. I thought as Catwoman, I thought she was very good. She's not, no, Michelle Pfeiffer is always the best Catwoman, but I'm telling you, Zoe Kravitz is a close second. But I will say this movie does focus a lot on the detective aspect of Batman, and having read Batman comics a big part of my life, that's what he's known as, the world's greatest detective. Now, I think it's definitely in the top 5 of all the Batman movies of all time. I think my favorite has always been Batman Begins, because you can't beat Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul, and the start of the Nolan trilogy, which just took Batman on a whole different level. Then I would have to have the Dark Knight as second. And I think this one would probably be, this one might be third or fourth. I think it'd probably be fourth, because I thought Dark Knight Rises was not, I didn't love it, but I thought it was okay. But I think this movie's definitely top 5, and it's definitely worth somebody's time to go see it. I mean, it's long, but boy, I tell you that, the actors are good, and it moves. But like you said, the last 20 minutes of the movie, it was kind of a head scratcher a bit. But up till then, I had no kick with it.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan's probably my favorite director right now. Anyways, I always thought he done a great job uh, putting Batman, giving a realistic turn to the Batman character. Batman has always been the comic book character that easily translates into a real life scenario, because all he is he don't have any superpowers or anything like that. He's a rich guy with a bunch of fancy toys that helps him beat up bad guys. So uh, to some extent, that can be made believable, which I thought Christopher Nolan done a great job of making it believable. This movie's kind of like that, man. It's more of a darker version of what Christopher Nolan was trying to do with his franchise. I mean, it's real. It's a really dark movie, uh, and if you're going to watch it thinking it's a family friendly Batman movie, you might want to double check. It's kind of rough in some places, and the subject matter is a little rough. Uh, but with all that said, man, we're going to get into some spoilers uh, about the Batman. It started out with the actor that played Batman, Robert Pattinson, giving a monologue over the action that you was watching take place on screen, telling about how that he had become this character that hid in the shadows to bring fear to the criminal element of Gotham. And right as he's finishing up this monologue, he tracks down this gang of kids. It's You kind of get the feeling they're imitating the Joker, the way their faces are painted up, but he just literally beats the snot out of these guys. And one of them asks him who he is. Who are you? He says, I'm Vengeance, which that plays off at the end of the movie in a way that I wasn't really happy with. Believe it or not, you might not think of this guy as being somebody that you turn to for movie reviews, but I actually watched a review last night that Ben Shapiro did on his YouTube channel. He had a good take on that toward the end of the movie, how they do a full circle to Batman calling himself Vengeance. And with that said, I'll let you take a chance to give me some thoughts about the beginning.
Again, I agree with that. I mean, it had the vibe of Batman Begins without going through the training of how he became Batman. Because a key statement that was said at the beginning of the movie is when Robert Pattinson said, "I've been doing this is my second year doing this." So basically, this is based on off of Matt Reeves got the story from Batman Year Two, when he hasn't been only doing it very long. And you're filling in the gaps, and you're getting introduced to Gordon, who's not even the commissioner of police really, and you're getting introduced to all the different characters, the mafia characters, and all that. And again, it's just It's a darker version. And really you see him more as Batman than you do as Bruce Wayne. And this may be the first movie I think I can never think that was actually the case. I don't know about you. What do you think?
He was definitely more Batman than Bruce Wayne. One complaint I heard somebody had, which it's not really a complaint for me because I don't know the source material. Uh, he may have been like this in some of the comics, but one complaint somebody had was that even as Bruce Wayne in this, he was still Batman.
I'd heard that, and
you really couldn't. His demeanor and everything was still the same, even when he wasn't uh, playing the role of Batman. But of course, if you paid attention to these movies long enough for this property, you understand that Batman is really who he is, being somebody that witnessed his parents uh, murdered in a back alley in Gotham,
thank goodness
and
they didn't have that rehashed again.
yeah. But this character that just always haunted him, Batman is who he actually is. Bruce Wayne is actually the alter ego, the thing that he does on the side. So I didn't really have a problem with that, with Robert Pattinson's portrayal outside of the costume, but some people had a problem with it.
I thought the costume was okay. Again, people just need to remember this is when he's just like second. He's only been doing this 2 years. I mean, he hasn't got the bat helicopter, the bat jet, and everything else that down in the bat cave. I mean, he's got the ball rolling a little bit, so the people need to remember that, in my opinion.
No, what I'm talking about, like, say, go back to the Nolan trilogy.
Right.
When Batman shows up on screen, he's got more of a gruff, down, haunted by his past with his parents kind of presence on screen. But when Christian Bale was on screen, not as Batman, there's a big difference between him as Batman and him as Bruce
Yeah,
Wayne.
there is.
In this movie, even when he's not in the costume, he still has the same down, depressed type of presence as he does when he's in the costume.
Yeah, and again, and the thing of it is too, like you said, you see him so little as Bruce Wayne. And the interaction that he has with Andy Serkis as Alfred is very brief. This may be the movie I think I've seen Alfred in the least of any of them. Maybe what do you
Yeah,
guys think about that?
yeah. I mean, I didn't really pay attention to that much.
Because Alfred's
My
an integral character in the Batman's mythos.
oh yeah, but I mean, I don't think you can outdo Michael Caine as Alfred. I think he did a great job.
He did.
So Andy Serkis is a good actor. I'd like to have seen him more, but we both agree that Alfred was in it a little too much or too little.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, so I guess the next thing to talk about is the villain played by Paul Dano. He brings another take on the character of the Riddler uh, to the big screen. I guess the last time we saw Riddler was
Jim
uh,
Carrey.
yeah, unless you're counting the show Gotham, which the guy that played him in Gotham just played a minor version of Jim Carrey's Riddler. Uh, Back in the day when I was a lot younger, I liked Jim Carrey as Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones as Two Face. But then when the Christopher Nolan trilogy, which is the standard for Batman movies, in my opinion, you kind of see that those older Batman movies was uh, they just they wasn't on the same level, for lack of a better way to explain it. Uh, what I liked about this Riddler, and I said it when the Christopher Nolan trilogy was out, before The Dark Knight Rises even came out, I thought that the Riddler, in exactly the type of Riddler that we got in this movie, would have been a perfect villain for the Christopher Nolan trilogy. A serial killer type of villain that carried the story forward from The Dark Knight, uh, because this isn't like a typical take on the Riddler. It's it. If you saw a picture of this character dressed up as the Riddler, this guy that's playing the Riddler, who is the Riddler, if you just saw a picture of him, you would have no idea that he was playing the character, the Riddler from the Batman comics.
Looked like the Unabomber.
Yeah, he was a completely different take, which I thought would have fit the realism of the Christopher Nolan trilogy. As that stands, I thought Paul Dano did a good job. I didn't think they gave him enough to do, to be honest. He's a really good actor, man. I think they should have gave him a lot more to do outside of the costume, honestly.
Yeah, you never really got to see exactly how the depths he could take the character. I mean, in fact, if you think about it, you saw a lot more of the guy that played Carmine Falcone, and you almost believed he was the villain more so than the Riddler, so to speak.
Which was John Turturro.
Right.
Yeah. Uh, Another character, the Penguin, shows up in this movie. Man, I don't care how long you stare at him, you would never guess that was Colin Farrell
Yeah.
as the Penguin. There's no way. He don't look or sound like Colin Farrell. I mean, whoever did that makeup deserves a nomination for that. Just that part alone, the way they made him look.
Yeah, I mean, I think his rendition of the Penguin was a lot more better than what we saw with Danny DeVito in Batman Returns.
I was
And
watching some guys give their top 15 Batman movies of all time last night, and they spoke real highly of Danny DeVito. I never did like the Tim Burton Batman movies, honestly. I mean, that's all you had back in the day, so you went and watched them, and they were good for the time. But considering what we've gotten over the last 10 to 15 years from the Batman franchise, it makes Tim Burton look like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Tim Burton's claim to fame is he always comes in under budget every movie, and he lives up to the rep every time.
Uh, So then we see Batman. He starts coming across these crime scenes of these people that's being murdered. And as the movie plays out, the people that the Riddler is murdering are politicians and officials for the city of Gotham. And he's leading Gordon and Batman down this path to expose corruption in Gotham. And but what it ends up doing is it takes you on a turn to Batman's parents. Their names are Martha. Martha? What was it?
Tom,
Thomas. Thomas and Martha's. It
yeah,
gave them a more. It made them look like they dabbled in a little bit. Gave their history a little bit more of a dark side to it,
yeah,
which makes Batman question everything that he's doing. Uh, but that's basically the gist of it. The Riddler's killing these people, and as they uncover these crimes, trying to find out who's doing it, they're uncovering corruption in Gotham is what's going on.
yeah. You see, as you start going, and the Riddler takes you on just a journey as you're going through all the different characters that he associates with the fall of Gotham and where the reason it's in the shape it's in. It reminds you of a little bit of the Scarecrow character from Batman Begins, but I think, but on a far more diabolical note.
Yeah. Uh, and so basically, what this leads to is we get to the point where secrets are being revealed. Batman and Catwoman kind of have this little uh, uh, scenario where they're basically looking for the same person, which ties back into Falcone, however you want to pronounce his name, and leads to him getting killed. And right when you think they're getting ready to uncover, this is where the movie kind of takes a nosedive for me. Is you're on this really good detective serial killer movie path, and then just all of a sudden the Riddler just turns himself in, and there's really no motivation for why he does what he does. It's like he's got this mission of exposing corruption in Gotham, and then he just turns himself in and blows up the seawalls to cause Gotham to flood.
Yeah, and it was just like his master plan. They made you think that he had figured out who that Batman was Bruce Wayne. Then they kind of pulled that out from under you. I think he could have. I think, like you say, he'll be back and he'll probably figure it out. But I thought the thing with Falcone, but it's like they caught the Riddler a little too easy at the end because he gave himself up. Then you have that deal where he's trying to take out the new mayor elect, and everybody goes into that daggone stadium Coliseum there, and it's flooding and everything, and it turns into a version of Water World trying to get people out of there. And I'm just like, this is Gotham, man. I mean, we don't need to see the flood from the Justice League movie.
Yeah. Well, that's a take I was going to go over with you that I heard Ben Shapiro go over, but it's so obvious once he points it out. Like I said, I've only seen this once. I would like to have seen it another time before we talked about it. But going back to what I mentioned from the beginning of the movie, where Batman calls himself Vengeance, if you notice at the end of the movie when we're all in that Coliseum and those people are trapped down at the bottom, he's beating this one guy. All these guys show up dressed like the Riddler and Batman, and everybody's beating them up. And Batman's about to beat one of them to death, and he takes his mask off, and guy looks up at him and tells him that he's vengeance. And all of a sudden, Batman has this change of heart that everything that he's been has been the wrong approach, and then that's when he decides to go down and rescue these people that's trapped in this structure in the floodwater. And I like the visual of this. He's leading them out by a candle or whatever it was he was carrying. Like he's gone from being vengeance to being the hope that
Yeah.
Gotham needs. But it was like it was a knock on what the Batman character has always been. Vengeance is what drives that character. I
Well,
mean, he focuses it in the right way, but if his mom and dad hadn't been killed in front of him, everybody knows the Batman origin story. If his mom and dad hadn't been killed in front of him, we'd have never had Batman. Batman is a vengeful character, but he focuses it to do what's right for the city of Gotham.
and another thing too, when the guy who was beaten up there like that, was like he took the brunt of a blast or something was laying on his back, and Catwoman came and helped him. The next thing you know, that guy that said he was vengeance was beating up Catwoman, and Bruce gets up, injects himself with almost reminds you of Bane toxin or venom, and next thing you know, it's like the Predator from the Predator movies. Hey, let's rock, and he's just beating the crap out of that guy, and finally she had to say quit it because he was
Yeah,
going to kill him.
yeah, yeah. So a few things happen after they catch Riddler and all that stuff happens. Batman saves the day without going into any details. They show us a scene with Riddler in Arkham Asylum, and there's somebody next to him in the cell next to him. They're obviously going to make another movie to this series. Uh, whoever that is next to him, which is probably going to be the Joker.
That's who's supposed to be the Joker. The guy that played in the Eternals movie that's who it is. He played Druig in the Eternals. I think it was in the Eternals movie. He's the guy that's going to be the younger Joker.
Druig.
Yeah, the guy. I think it was his name. The one that could control people's minds. The younger guy. I can't remember. I can't remember his real name. But he's the one that was in Eternals that could always control people, make them do what
Oh, I know who you're talking about. He's going to be the Joker.
he's going to be the Joker.
I don't know if I can see that. I don't know. Of course,
Version starting out the Joker. Yeah, I know.
nobody would have guessed Heath Ledger would have played Joker, and nobody would have guessed Robert Pattinson would have played Batman. But I really like this movie. I know most of this review seems like we're talking more negative about it than positive, but I really liked it.
I did
I
too.
mean, I'd like to see it again because a lot of times if I see a movie that I really like, if I watch it again, I'll move up to appreciating it even more. Usually, if I hate a movie, watching it again ain't gonna help it. But
Right.
I can usually move up on stuff that I originally like to start with. With that said, I would probably give this, using our rating system, probably a solid 4 out of 5 armchairs.
Yeah, I'd give it a 4 too. I think it was really good, despite the hiccup at the very end of it. Everything else is really good. And I'm not going to sit here and complain too much about Les Alfred and the ending being kind of a little bit wheels off to a degree. But overall, it was a very, very good movie.
I think Christopher Nolan kind of spoiled us, man. When you see a movie, a Batman movie coming out, and they're really pushing this darker, more gritty looking Batman, Christopher Nolan set the bar up so high for this franchise, man. When you go in and see it, it's got a really high standard to live up to.
It does.
So I will say this: I like the Todd Phillips Joker movie better than this. I was watching some scenes from that last night with Joaquin Phoenix, and if you take Batman from all other Batman properties and Joker from all other Batman properties, I think Joker is a better movie overall than this movie. But as far as if you put this with all the other Batman movies, it's at least top 4 in my
Right.
opinion.
I agree with that.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of them. That's exactly right.
There's been a whole lot of them. All
Yeah.
right, man. Well, I guess that's going to do it for this video. It went a lot. It went longer than I wanted it to. But with everything being said, uh, give you some practice on this. Where can they meet us at, Ashley?
Well, they can find you on Facebook at Armchair Fandom. They can find you at Twitter at DaRealLastJedi, and they can find me on Twitter at Ashley Houchins. And feel free to send comments, questions, concerns, or anything else to either of those accounts, and or put something down in the chat and leave it, and we'll get to it.
Yeah. If you got any ideas for a video or a movie you'd like reviewed, just leave it. Get in touch with us or leave it in the comments. Subscribe to our channel. Click the notification bell. Hit the like button. And
Feel
everybody
free
have a nice.
to chat anytime.
What's that?
Feel free to super chat anytime per John
Yeah.
King.
I don't know if we're eligible for that yet. I think you gotta get some new views or subscribers. I'm sure he probably bought somebody off the shield that he is, but we got to do that segment one day.
Yeah.
I've already got the logo, the John Campia logo with the Real Last Jedi head on it, pointing over here like this. Well, who's that shield? Yeah, we're gonna do that one day. Anyways, everybody have a good evening.
All right, later.